Zambia is one of the countries in Southern Africa which has rich natural resources. About 70% of water bodies in Southern Africa are found in Zambia. Despite being endowed with rich natural resources, Zambia has its own challenges on its wetlands. Over the years, Zambia's wetlands have been invaded with foreign weeds, posing a danger to the environment and its habitats. An example is the mimosa pigra weed, commonly found in the Kafue flats. The weeds have been disturbing the ecosystem. The International Crane Foundation, in partnership with the Department of National Parks and Wildlife, have engaged the community in Lochinvar and Blue Lagoon National Parks to rid the wetlands of the notorious mimosa pigra weed.
The mimosa pigra eradication program started some years back, and is being supported by the International Crane Foundation, the ICF. And this organization has been on the ground in trying to eradicate the same mimosa pigra, which has really brought challenges in terms of ecosystem management here in the national park. The mimosa pigra covers a lot of different areas. Along the lagoon, we have what we call Chunga Lagoon within the national park. And this lagoon, that's where the mimosa pigra have actually have actually found themselves to be in. And they have actually given us several challenges. Among them is that the lechwe, which is one of the endemic antelope that we are having here in Zambia, the Kafue lechwe. This Kafue lechwe has actually, as you know, it's an aquatic animal, so for it to have accessibility to water has been a challenge because of the same invasive species. And not only that, Lochinvar National Park is also a good area for breeding of fish, and it's because of the same mimosa pigra that is also giving problems to the breeding of the fish in that the pigra has got thorns, hooked thorns, which actually give some more fish cannot penetrate within the thickets of the mimosa pigra.
It is against this background that the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources undertook a field visit to Lochinvar and Blue Lagoon National Parks to assess the extent of the weed.
So our coming here is to get some lessons. What's the extent of this weed in terms of invasion? To what extent has the ecosystem been affected by this weed? And how has that impacted on the livelihoods of the people around here? Because we know that people are dependent on this ecosystem in terms of fishing, the wildlife, and other life forms that are being supported by the ecosystem.
It is very invasive in that it has been disturbing the habitats for the wild animals. That is our Kafue lechwe, and also our rich bird life in the park. But the method that they are using, supported by the Crane Foundation, which is using chemicals, is actually working very, very well.
Monza District Commissioner has appreciated the efforts being made.
It is our hope through this new Dawn government that we shall achieve what we are supposed to achieve. Through your support, your expert knowledge, your findings, once they are put together, definitely we shall be able to resolve for the betterment of our people whom we owe a duty to save.
What are some of the lessons learned so far?
glyphosate. Is the chemical we are using. Okay, so after so many studies and the like, they thought of no, chemical is the right chemicals to use on this mimosa. The other thing is we don't use it where when it is in water there. We just use it on a dry land. We just target, that's what I'm saying, we just do the spot spraying. Just we are spotting where there's just mimosa, we just spray that mimosa only.
It is hoped that these lessons can be applied to other areas.
We've picked some of the lessons. So what we have noticed and what we have learned on the ground is that it's better to use a combination of methods and not just rely on one method. We are told that in the initial stages of the project, I think somewhere around 2006 or so, they had tried biological control, which was not very effective. But when Crane Foundation came in, they tried both physical and chemical control. And from what we have seen, they have done almost 2,000 hectares of the park, which has been cleared of the weed. And we're on the ground. We've seen that the area that has been cleared of the weed, we've seen the animals now moving in to utilize that habitat for grazing. So we saw quite a number of lechwe, which is a very good sign because those animals had been displaced.
The ecosystem-based adaptation project is supporting the Zambian government to eradicate a different kind of weed called the Salvania molesta, which is prevalent in the Lukanga wetlands.
So we hope that once we start, we'll see what combination of methods we can also use on the Lukanga. Initially, we are already thinking of using the biological control, using the weevil to take care of the Salvinia molesta. But we'll see if we can also combine it with other methods, most likely physical means to control the weed.
There is that even wildlife sightings have gone up. Those animals are now having free passage to drinking water as well as having their daily food, which is coming from the park. So, as a Ministry of Land and Natural Resources, basically we are happy because the National Policy on Wetlands, it means that the set targets in terms of addressing invasive weeds, we are moving towards a positive direction.
The preservation of species both on land and in water is important for future generations. It is therefore hoped that a solution is found to completely eradicate the weeds from Zambia's water bodies.